Singletto exists to help us live our lives more freely.
Singletto's mission is to provide a means to protect against pandemics, against any type of pathogen or communicable disease.
Every step, every experiment that is done, every product that is developed or conceived is towards that goal of essentially reducing pain and suffering, which is why I became a physician in the first place.
Jim Chen, he approached me with this idea of applying a color, a dye that I use in children in the operating room to basically inactivate virus. Jim Chen had experience with this technology for brain cancer treatment. He thought, well, this could potentially work for this decontamination idea.
And I remember thinking to myself, this is going to be a game changer. And so we continued to talk to figure out different ways we could have the biggest impact possible with this breakthrough technology. And that's what eventually led to the formation of Singletto.
So one of the attributes of this therapy, why I thought it was important to explore and develop and optimize, is because I recognized early on that it has the potential to continually disinfect virus and other pathogens and actually provide ongoing continuous protection.
It was the first time really that these protective dyes were seen to work in a dry state on a practical piece of material that is worn by somebody. This provided evidence that you could actually pre-treat materials and get an ongoing protection.
Singletto's technology platform has so many different levels of innovation. It's fascinating.
Our technology is really special. It's a simple technology. It's learned from nature. It's inspired by nature. So as we're sitting here outside, I'm feeling and breathing and seeing all the things that are the core components of our technology.
So these protective dyes that have a very unique characteristic. The energy behind light is made up of photons, which are the little kind of packets of light. When a photon strikes these protective dyes, it excites them. They get energized very briefly. And when they are relaxing, they basically give that energy to the air, to the oxygen. And when that happens, it creates excited oxygen, and that's called singlet oxygen. That singlet oxygen very briefly lasts, milliseconds, nanoseconds to milliseconds. That little oxygen molecule can basically break down virus. It can break down the coats of the virus, the envelopes. It can break apart the blueprints, the RNA or DNA sequences within the virus. It can also work against the bacteria that we are all very worried about. These organisms cannot develop a resistance to this process because the singlet oxygen works in so many different ways at damaging the virus or damaging the bacteria.
Oxyfence provides a barrier of singlet oxygen around us. It creates a continual layer, and it's accessible to every single person on this planet. It's not something that requires a lot of machinery or equipment or precious metals. It's something that we can create and scale up and provide solutions for the entire world.
So imagine in a healthcare setting in a hospital, starting with the masks. This technology works great on masks. Everything else that they're wearing, though, that is today intended to protect them from, as a physical barrier from SARS or flu or any other sort of pathogens, which includes caps, gowns, shoe covers. All of those things can be protected with this technology. And then when you look at the rest of the room around you, privacy curtain and drapes and things like that also can be easily applied with this technology to decrease the amount of viable pathogens in the room. We are talking to consumer brands today who are looking to build new brand platforms. Think about soft or hard surface sprays, cosmetics, material science companies, films or coatings or screens that are coated with protective dyes.
I'm hard pressed to think about a place where Oxyfence wouldn't exist. That is how big we're thinking. OxyFence has 3 features that I think are incredibly important. First and foremost, it's safe. You know, the technology is grounded in fundamental principles of protective dyes and light, science that has been around for centuries. The second feature is that it provides 99.9% effectiveness against pathogens. The third feature that I think is the most exciting is that OxyFence provides ongoing protection when you're wearing it.
If you look at a technology in multiple dimensions, a dimension of speed of action, a dimension of where it can be applied, which kind of surfaces and applications, a dimension of cost, a dimension of availability, meaning that you actually can get these kind of base materials, these base dyes to work versus other materials that have antimicrobial capabilities, safety profile. And if you look in all those dimensions, you're going to see that OxyFence has the best profile out of any of these technologies.
This product kills pathogens, not just protects you from them. So I really try to center people on that. Maybe the most important thing is the psychological importance of it, because if it brings hope that, hey, I have the best possible protection out there. I feel like I've been given everything I can, and I'm going to have a different attitude every day. I'm not going to have fear combined with the already existing stress of work.
There's just no way to know what's going to happen down the road, but we need to do everything we can.
We're committed not just to the needs of our time now, but to the needs of the future. And when I say future, I mean, we're talking 50, 100 years from now. The decisions we make today impact our futures tomorrow. And that's something that is a part of our daily dialogue at Singletto.
To say this is something we have to invest in. You know, as the president of a company, we had 125,000 caregivers. I had a moral obligation, to do everything I could to improve their health. And I think the healthcare industry in total feels that way today. And so that's why I think they're really excited about it. I think what COVID has proven is that things can happen really fast that we're not ready for. And there will be the next COVID. And the thing about it is products like OxyFence can get out ahead of the curve to prevent issues when they arise.
I want this to be working today for everyone. Everybody in Singletto team feels that and believes that it's possible. We're just constantly driven by that.